When I was a kid, Jazz was my favorite. But I missed the G1 toy back in the 80s, so this entire time I've been looking for that perfect Jazz from every product line. And today, here comes an amazing little one. So if you also like Jazz, this video is for you. MS-B35. This is like a Jazz walking straight out of the show. Arguably one of the best representations of G1 cartoon Jazz. It's just so faithful and accurate. Of course, it is very difficult to compare a cartoon sketch to a figure, but we can still see that B35 is trying to recreate that cartoon look with the right proportion and design elements from our beloved Jazz. Going for some details, metallic teal paint on the visor, which I think is a bit too big, dark blue on the chest. I thought there should be this classic red and blue stripes here, like on the G1 toy, but when I check it against the cartoon artwork, it is actually just a blue block. And it is also on the car mode. That's the typical Jazz paint scheme on the chest, but unfortunately I have a crooked paint on one of the headlights. Blue on the waist, some dark gray details on the knees and lower legs, lighter green on the shin guard, and dark gray on the feet. Metallic teal paint on all the windows and the red and blue stripe on the back. So there really isn't much paint. Everything is following the artwork to make this guy look accurate. The chest is still a bit wide, since it does not have some folding mechanisms like on MiGTOY's Downbeat, but rather than that, sculptor-wise, this is close to perfect. Starting with Optimus Prime 2.0, MS Toys showed great improvement in the design and engineering capacity for producing faithful sculpt and outstanding articulation. And compared to other earlier carbots, this Jazz is a perfect showcase of what fans called Magic Square 2.0 design, and it also brings some nice changes in the build quality. If you remembered in my previous reviews, whether it's Hound, Optimus Prime, Nemesis, or Prowl, I talked about the soft and faded look on the materials they use. But on Jazz, this is significantly improved. It basically gets rid of the soft nylon look on Prime. It's not pure white like on New Age Jazz. It's much closer to the white color used on Downbeat, and it is so much better than the off-white used on Prowl. And also, the major plastic flash issue on Nemesis is mostly gone. So among these recent MS products, I would say Jazz is using noticeably better molding and materials. However, the paintwork is still not the best. Soft and fuzzy edges, oversprays, and some paint chipping after transformation. Really hope MS Toy could improve on this. Bringing New Age Jazz for a quick comparison. We could see that Legend scale figures have changed a lot. When New Age Jazz came out 3 years ago, we were stunned by how small it was, but still had the clever transformation design. And now, on top of that, they're more proportionate and faithful to better represent the characters we love. But of course, there's more to this look. Flip out the wing doors, mount the shoulder cannon, and for the finishing touch, replace this teeny tiny face, the smallest Transformer accessory ever, the G1 toy face sculpt. And then it becomes the G1 toy setup. A bit of a hollow in the back, but I generally love this look better because of my attachment to the G1 toy aesthetics. And what makes it even better is the great articulation that comes with it. The head is on a ball joint, typical 90 upward, but it's connected to the body through a panel that does not have a locking position, so it's a bit awkward moving the head around. However, the panel does give the head some downward movement that the ball joint doesn't have. Ball jointed shoulder that lifts 90 and rotates all the way. Very tight bicep cut. Single jointed elbow that goes 120. Mushroom pegs on the hands. 360 waist rotation. 90 ab crunch. A very aggressive forward kick with the same hip joint design as Hound and Optimus. Mushroom thigh rotation. The leg doesn't kick back at all and only about 60 to the side. Full knee bend. The foot moves upward a very limited range. Great downward when the heel is folded and tilts 90. When a figure has good range on the elbow, the ab crunch, and the knee, it is going to be fun, easy, and effortless to put it into some cool and natural poses. And besides the fun posing this figure, Jazz also comes with more accessories than I expected in such a small box. And the interesting thing is, there's no mention of how the accessories work in the instructions. And they came in like this. So let's sort them out. A gray plastic rifle with a signature look. a shoulder cannon with a rotating tab that could go to either side of the shoulder or forearm. Something original. A pair of extra fists, which are impossible to swap with those extremely tight mushroom pegs. A pair of speakers that require some assembly and tap onto the wing doors. There are 4 smaller tweeters and a pair of waist armors. Put them together and mount on the hips, or combine them into a sound bar and mount under the chest. So basically, Jazz could be very loud. Except for the G1 toy face, there's supposed to be a cartoon crying face, which in my copy is another G1 toy face. Well, I consider it a gift for me for missing the G1 toy back in the days. And lastly, a collector card that shows the same power as G1 toy for Jazz. And this is what Jazz looks like fully geared up. And now to the best part that I enjoyed a lot, the transformation. Here we go. The final result is pretty satisfying, everything taps perfectly together. The camera doesn't have much paint either, plastic wheels rolls just okay, and also it features opening doors. Put it right next to New Age Jazz, they almost have the exact same dimensions, but MS Jazz falls behind on the look. There are no clear windows, no martini paint scheme, just a plain but faithful representation of the cartoon artwork. This is going to be like my MP setup. Make toys downbeat in the robot mode and TR01 in its fancy car mode, doing what they do best. I'm very glad MS Toys released Jazz in its 2.0 phase. It's a good time because it makes my favorite Autobot come to life. And I'm surprised to say, this small guy is probably by far the best cartoon representation of Jazz. And what's more surprising to me is that I never thought I would give up the main line and start collecting a third-party Legend Scale line and had this much fun. Now if you wonder how I started, you can watch this Optimus Prime review on the left, or you can watch the entire playlist of my journey collecting these micro masterpiece Transformers. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too. Now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.